Welcome to the channel, y'all. I'm Kima, and this is the collection. Okay, so we're getting right into it. So this is week 1 of May's planning action steps. You know, we're sticking to the SMART goal. We're trying to make money, elevate, restyle, all those things. But today, in week 1, is all about making money. So the plan is to resell all of our gently used, still fly items that we just can't find a way to make work. So that's what I'm trying to do. I have all this stuff here. I have approximately 30, I think I counted 30 items. We have 2 resale options that we're going to explore. One, we're taking it to our local buy, sell, trade store. I'm going to Rag-O-Rama in Little 5 Points, and I'm going to see what they're talking about. I used to go to the one in Sandy Springs, but that one is no longer available or no longer with us. So, Plan B, which I'm so disappointed because I like that one better. It was like, you know, just kind of like off in the cut, not in a cut, but it's not like in the city. So you could just pull into a parking lot and just chill. This one, you gotta hustle and bustle of trying to find parking and potentially paying for parking, and nobody's doing that. So, but whatever, that's my option. And then there's another one, another local buy sell trade store not too far from here. So I'm gonna check that one out. I couldn't get a lot of the information on the website, so I'm going in blind. So, but what I wanted to do was kind of show you guys the setup, and then I'm gonna go out, hit the streets, and take the goods and see what they're talking about. But I did want to start with the first 3 tips on, you know, being smart about this and kind of knowing what you're getting into before you go into these stores with high expectations. I think I said this before in any of the videos that I've talked about reselling our clothes. It has to be stuff that you still like, things that you still want to wear. If it's not things that you still want to wear, don't even waste your time, because think about it. You have to think like a seller, right? Like if somebody's who's going to buy this? People who like stuff that's current, that's trendy. So if you don't like it because it's out of style, then don't even waste your time. You could just donate it and just be done with it that way. So before we get into all of that, I'm going to go over some tips that I researched, and then some, like I said, I kind of learned just over the years. But you do want to make sure you research your particular store that you're going to, so you know what their business is about if you don't shop there frequently. We're also going to sell on Poshmark. So whatever we don't get to sell at the actual resale stores, then we're going to sell on Poshmark. And I have some other things that I'm reserving only for Poshmark, just because I think it might be easier. Like, you know, something that might be luxury brand. I don't know what their policy is for that. I'll ask them when I go there. And I may take one of the items with me, but we'll see. Okay, so anyway, let's go over some of the tips, and then I'm not going to show you everything because whatever. But then we're going to hit the streets. Okay, so the first tip, this one goes without saying. I've already mentioned it. If you have not been to the store that you're trying to resell at, you need to go there now. Go there, see what their vibe is, see what kinds of things they're selling. And also don't necessarily leave with high expectations. Like, oh, this is what they sell? Girl, I'm about to rack up, you know, because I got way better things than this. No, I don't know what kind of reverse psychology they got going on, but it doesn't work that way. But just go and see what their general vibe is. And then you'll know. And also their pricing, because you're not getting that actual price that they're selling stuff for. So if they're selling things for $10, imagine how much they're going to pay you on the front end so they can make a profit, right? So understanding general payout ranges. Now, again, some of them on their website, they might loosely have some information on typically how much they pay, anywhere from 30 to 50%. The last time that I sold at Rag-O-Rama, they said they pay 50% of how much they're going to sell the item for. So I think they bought a pair of boots that I had. They were brand new, but they weren't leather. So they claimed they were going to sell it for $20. So they gave me $10 for it. I wasn't tripping because I had them for like 2, 3, maybe more than 2 or 3 years. Never wore them because they were not leather, and you could tell. So fine, I gladly took my $10. And then I think it was like a sweater dress, same thing. I think they gave me $10 for it. So all in all, they gave me $20. But here's the gag. The gag is you get more money for store credit than you do for cash money, right? So you get more value if you decide to use their store credit, and we already know that's a setup. Are you done? So we're not doing that. So like, because that just means you're going to shop for more stuff. So if they give me $20, which they did, because I decided to take the store credit, because I ended up staying in store while I waited for them to assess and evaluate my goods, which again is another setup because there was nowhere for me to go. I didn't want to sit in the car, burn gas, but I got a plan for that now. And so, I said, let me just see what people are talking about in here. And I liked a few things. And so I ended up actually spending more money than I made. So that's not, that ain't how we're trying to elevate around here. So we're not doing that. We are going to drop and we are going to leave. Okay. And so just have a plan, like bring a book to read. I'm probably going to edit some videos, do some things in the car, but we're not going to shop in their store. And so just kind of go in there already knowing that your evaluation is going to be a lot less than than what you're probably hoping for, just because they're going to give you a number for store credit. Let's say you're lucky and they say $50 and that's some good money. I could do something with $50, but that's the store credit. The actual cash money that they give you might be $35. Go into it already expecting the least amount. You're just like, look, I'm just trying to get rid of this stuff, okay? And I want to make a little bit of money on the back end of it, okay? So if I go in there and I just make a profit, even if my profit is $40 in cash, that's $40 that I can take and reinvest into decluttering my closet and buy some storage, right? Look at it that way. Or, if you're one of those people that have like those weekly plans to save $10,000 in 2 months and it's like $80 today, then you can add to it that way. There's all different ways that you can make this money make sense for you. So that's what we're going to do. We're not going to shop at the resale store, but we're trying to actually make money. Not going to do it. Okay. I'm not sure if this should be one. I said the first thing was one, go to the store, know what you like. Know what they sell before you even think that you got what they like. So you really need to think like a seller in terms of what is going to sell quickly. And what's going to sell quickly are the things that are on trend and seasonal. Summer, spring. They do really like vintage pieces. And I have some bags and I have some Adidas stuff. I have some other Adidas stuff. They always like Adidas stuff, but I feel like that might be one of those things where they're like, we got a lot of Adidas stuff. Because they do say on their website or on one of the tips that I got, Nike is preferred. Right? And one of the things that they say to stay clear away from is fast fashion brands like Shein. They have a tier. And I'll put that up here somewhere, the tier level of how much you can expect to get for each type of brand and what have you. But I have sold Shein stuff to them before. Again, it has to be in really, really good condition, and it has to be something that's kind of obscure and really unique and cool. Oh, child. Okay, so I'm back. As you can tell, it's been a long day. Had to let the hair down. So, very quickly. Rag-O-Rama, I was able to sell 3 pieces for a total of $21 and some change. If I wanted the store credit, it would have been double that. But I was like, I'm not falling for the okie doke. I am just coming to declutter, get rid of stuff, make a little cash, and go on my way. Not trying to buy anything. Okay, so they took 3 things. They took a pair of Adidas track pants. They took the bait because I put a ASOS dress in there, and sure enough, they took it. And another this Vince dress. I don't even know who Vince is, but they took it. And I'm not surprised that they took those 3 things. Everything else I wasn't really sure, but I said they were good. They were good quality. You never know. But they said no. Okay, so not gonna lie, I was a little bit discouraged after that because that was really the only place that I could think of that was close enough that I could go to in one day. The other place that I had mentioned initially that was not too far from here was not a buy, sell, trade place at all. And a few weeks ago, I actually checked out a consignment shop around here too, and that, like, their prices were very high, and their whole policy was like, it was too much. It was too many rules, and in the end, like, I was just going to lose money and lose my items if it didn't sell in a couple of, like, 20 days, 30 days, and they're not liable for theft, damage, fire. I was like, listen, I don't know. But they had nice things in there. Like, you would sell, it's a consignment shop, so you would sell, like, your very high-end brands, like all the luxury brands you probably own, and, like, just really good quality, like J. Crew, Banana Republic, and that sort of stuff. But no, I'm not even shopping there. I was tempted too. They did have some shoes that I liked, but I was like, nope, focus, girl. Okay, so then I remembered we have an Uptown Cheapskate, because initially I didn't know that we had one in Georgia, because I had only been to the one in the DC, Maryland area. And so anyway, we have one here in the metro area, but it's in Marietta. And I was like, well, that's a whole nother day's plan. Like, I'm not doing that, right? So eventually we scheduled it. We went, we made a whole, like, day, go there, do whatever. And I know that it's not as, like, edgy and as, like, vintage retro kind of style as Rag-O-Rama, but I forgot that, or maybe I didn't realize the first time I was in there, because, I found a lot of stuff and I should have known. Anyway, never mind. It is for a younger, more Y2K vibe. So Rag-O-Rama is more of your very vintage, very artsy, very eclectic, and also very, like, streetwear, and then, like, / urban wear. Whereas Uptown Cheapskate is kind of like, very trendy, like your mall brands, right? So they do the Free People, which I think both stores would gladly take all of your Free People items. But they're more of, like, your sets, your short sets, and, like, dainty little tops and things like that, crop tops, and, just all the current things that are in now, neutral tones, not, again, like, too bright and artsy, but they also have, like, streetwear things as well. And when I got there, the girl specifically said, so, we take, I forgot what brand, of course, like, we take, like, Zara and Free People and yada, 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 things like that. No J. Crew, no Banana Republic. Just, like, if we see that, we don't want that. That's, like, workwear. I was like, okay, got it. And meanwhile, I'm like, got some stuff in there, so I already know they're not going to take it. Sure enough, they didn't take anything. And the girl was so apologetic. She's like, yeah, I'm so sorry. It's just, some of the things we're just not taking right now. And I was like, okay, I get it. And I'm taking my stuff. And she's like, yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's okay, girl. It's okay. I'm good. Are you good? Like, do you need a moment? It's not that serious. Like, I don't live off of this. I don't make a living off of this. I'm good. Though I was not really discouraged, but I was just like, okay, so, like, for a long-term plan, where do, you're sophisticated, over 35, over 40, almost 45, gal like me go to, sell her wares. And, like, you got some good stuff and you want to pass it on and maybe make a buck or two. And so I just went into the Google machine. I don't even know what I typed. I think I said that, like, Google, where can I, for your middle-aged, modern, I don't know what I typed in, but I said something, and Clothes Mentor popped up. And it turns out it's not hard for me to get there. And I got there, and sure enough, I went and I looked, and remember we said that's what we do, check out the vibe, because I'd never heard of it, never been there. I just saw the website and it was like, oh, okay, I'm looking, I'm like, yeah, this definitely looks like our speed. They got the J. Crew, the Banana Republic, the whatever the the brands, like stuff that they would sell at Macy's and those kinds of places. So I went there, and you checked in, gave her this, and they took 12 items. 12 items. And I made $27. So it's like, what, $2 and some coins per item. But I unloaded a lot of things, and that was the plan to declutter. So I'm really excited about that. And in short, I made about $50 from all three, well, 2 out of the 3 stores. So I think that that's a bonus. I'm going to put that back into my closet, not with clothes, but with storage solutions. So I think I'm going to just get the rest of the velvet hangers that I need for the second half of the closet. Okay, so in short, Rag-O-Rama is for your very artsy, eclectic, they want high vintage and some on-trend stuff. Uptown Cheapskate, it's right in the middle, very trendy, but think young, Gen Z. As I said before, like the Zara, the Free People, those brands, Abercrombie, if that's still, is that still? You know what I'm talking about, that vibe. Very dainty, very ethereal kind of things, shorts, jeans, denim, all of that stuff. And then Clothes Mentor, which the name says it all, is for, the sophisticated, classy woman of a certain age, right? So yeah, all the stuff that we have, they for the most part want it. So I think that it was a success. And they do take like business attire, and they specifically say that. So we got that, right? In short, the 3 principles that we outlined, follow those. Make sure, you kind of go in there already knowing. As I said before, when I went in, I was like, my goal is $50. And so that's what I made. I made almost $50. So I'm happy about that. I researched beforehand what their style was, so I kind of knew. And if I decide to go back to Rag-O-Rama or Uptown Cheapskate, like I already know what to bring. I'm bringing like 10 things that I believe are like a shoe-in, like guaranteed they're going to take this, right? And then they probably only still take 2, but whatever. And then same thing with Clothes Mentor. I know their vibe. I know what they want. And then kind of going there knowing, anticipating how much you're probably going to make. Again, don't think that you're going to come out really making a lot of money. Probably not going to happen. Depending on, what kind of stuff you have. What was the 3rd principle? Number 3, try to go early or at a non-peak hour so you don't have to wait, but be prepared to wait, and have a game plan for if you have to wait, because remember, we're not shopping. Now, if shopping is your thing, you have an intent and a purpose, like I'm going to a that, so I need I need a new this, then that's fine. But if not, if we're just trying to save money, we're just trying to stick to a budget, we're just trying to make money, then we're not going into their stores and spending more money. And we're not taking a store credit either, because I'm telling you, it's a setup. It's a flex for them. Have a game plan, bring a book, sit in your car, walk somewhere else, plan to maybe talk or FaceTime with somebody that you haven't caught up with in a while, whatever, but don't shop if you're trying to just make money. Okay, and another thing, I'm sure this goes without saying, but we're going to say it because that's what we do. We talk. So make sure that your items are as new as possible. Of course, they say gently used, so never worn is great. But if it has any kind of loose threads, if it's a simple, you clip it, go ahead and clip it. They're not taking things that have a lot of lint balls and things like that. Stains, don't even think about it. Why would you try to sell that to anybody anyway? Holes, rips, none of those things. So hopefully that goes without saying. But an important detail too is you want to fold and prepare your items neatly in the bag, because the overall presentation too, it might affect, the buyer. And then especially certain items that don't necessarily wear well in terms of wrinkles, you want to go ahead and try to run a little steamer or a light iron through them. So what I did was I ironed all of the linen items. Okay. And those sold. They sold of course they didn't sell to Rag-O-Rama and Uptown Cheapskate, because it's linen, that's for a mature kind of gal. But they sold to Clothes Mentor because I ironed them. Imagine if I didn't iron that linen, it would have looked so raggedy. So go ahead and iron things that need to be ironed. Just give them that extra little jazz. And again, don't go in there being sentimental. The people are asking, are you sure? Are you going to want to dispute anything? If we accept anything, we put it right on the floor. And I'm like, no, bro, take it. I don't care. I ain't I don't know if they were looking at me ready for a fight or something. Because I'm like, no. They're like, everything, I'm good. I'm good. So yeah, don't go in there, sentimental about anything or sentimental about the prices. I just think that you should just take it. Now, if you have something that is very high end and luxury, the brand names, don't even try to sell it to them. Okay, don't even try to do that. Just put it on Poshmark or take it to a consignment place and figure out the pricing there. But do not take it to your buy sell places, Rag-O-Rama, Plato's Closet, Uptown Cheapskate, Clothes Mentor, anything like that. Don't, because there's no way for them to authenticate it, and they tell you we don't authenticate it. We just look at the prices and maybe see what it's selling for online, and then they give you $15 for your Gucci bag. Like, don't do it. Don't even bother. So I think that's the last thing that I wanted to say about that. Keep it cute and keep it curated. I think that would be a good tip to end with. Okay, so hopefully you guys are going to try some of these tips when you go out to resale. And if you could think of anything else that I didn't mention, please let me know in the comments, and just share with the community, because that's what we're trying to do. And remember, we're decluttering, we are elevating not just our wardrobe and our closets, but our lives. So we're just being intentional about how we spend our money and reinvesting it into the things that are just going to bring us more joy. So I'm taking my $50 and I'm buying some hangers for what's left in my closet. All right, well, thank you guys for sticking to the end. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share it. And I'm Kima. This is The Collection, and I'll see you next time. Bye.